Well, hello, my beautiful coffee beans over here on the Tiki Talk. I am Bullhorn Betty. We've been covering the case of Sebastian Rogers for well over 2 years. I actually went to jail because of these corrupted pieces of garbage right here. We're in a federal lawsuit right now with Sumner County and the violations of my constitutional and civil rights. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims. I have been working alongside with Sebastian's father, Seth Rogers, for the better part of 2 years, working with him to help him try to advocate for his son and to bring his son home, and of course fighting the child's mom and stepfather in the process of this wrestling. I did not. I went out there to cover a case and to post flyers. They involved me in their back and forth with this. Well, the father, Seth Rogers, just recently filed his own federal lawsuit against Sumner County and the Department of Children and Family Services, citing some pretty bad allegations, some that we didn't know. We were able to put a rest to Chris Proudfoot's lie. He told Miss Smiley Story World that he had open or closed Department of Children and Family Service cases in 2 states, implying that there was only 2 cases. Well, there was 2 cases just in Sebastian's case alone, but he tells Smiley Stories World that he popped Sebastian on the buttocks one time over his belt.
Have you ever had CPS called on you before?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't have to go into it elaborate or anything like that. That was the question that I had. And that happens, sometimes, especially when you have a child who is, has special needs and stuff. That's hard.
I'll be honest with you. I've had CPS called on me in 2 states, New Mexico and Tennessee.
And did that include with Sebastian?
Tennessee was Sebastian, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And in fact, Sebastian here, like I said, I got nothing to hide. So Sebastian went to school one day because we were at the house. He got in trouble. He didn't have a belt on. I was like, "Where's your belt?" And got it. Whack. Kind of got him. So he goes to school and he tells the teacher. They're mandatory reporters. So the teacher reports it.
Mm-hmm.
That afternoon, CPS shows up to the house while we're actually sitting down to eat dinner. Now, mind you, 15-year-old child, he's not real happy because he's in trouble, so he's being punished. So he shows, he makes a report. They come to the house, and the lady who comes to the house is the same lady we've had. She's had a case before. Now, the case that was before was something that didn't even happen, and it's like 3 stories that was shoved into one. And when they finally got it debunked, they were like, "Oh, he got so mixed up in telling one story, it mixed into 3, and it caused a commotion." Well, they canceled that out. So the one on me, she shows up, and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" It's her again. She's like, "Oh, hey." She goes, "Hey, I already don't." She's like, "Don't tell me anything, but I'm gonna tell you what I know happened." And I said, "Okay." She goes, "Blah blah blah." And she told me exactly what happened. I said, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "Oh my God." I said, "Yes, ma'am. This is how it's been." Sebastian thought by telling on me, making it sound like I was so horrible.
Oh, you cut out. You cut out just a minute. You cut out. I can. Oh, there you are. Okay.
That I was going to get in trouble over something stupid. And I was like, "No, Sebastian, you got punished, man. You got punished." And he was like, but. And I was like, "You got punished." And the lady took him outside. She goes, "Sebastian, just because you get in trouble and you get punished, you need to understand when you go and you say things about people and you lie and you fabricate things and you make it sound worse than what it is, sir, you can get in trouble for that." So that happened, and the lady was like, "I am so sorry." And I said, "No, he's just a child. He's upset. It is what it is. I'm okay with it."
Mm-hmm.
He sat that back down at the dinner table and was like, "See, eat your food." And we went back, and everything's been fine.
When I was talking to Chris earlier, and him and I were messaging, and I asked him about DCS, and he said the only case that DCS has open is
Here he
because
goes.
Sebastian ran away.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry
That's
about that.
true.
Hey, Chris. Josh was going to
Yes,
call in,
ma'am.
and I accidentally punched a 3 instead of a 2 or whatever, and he jumped up here on
That's
panel,
fine.
and he wanted to ask you something. Actually, sorry.
Fire away, man.
Well, so you and I we had messaged earlier on Facebook, and I had asked you about DCS, and you said that there were no other interactions with CPS or DCS except for Sebastian going missing, which I then told you, but that's not mandatory necessarily unless CPS was already involved. So
Now,
you're
hold
not
on.
really being honest.
Wait a minute. You asked me, because I'll read the messages to everybody in God Country. You asked me if there was an active CPS case on Sebastian. That's what you asked. And I told you, yes, there was. Because the sheriff's department told us that they had to report it because he was missing. That's what you asked. Now, you also started to ask if there was another case. And there was no other case that I know of that's active. That's what you asked.
Josh.
Yeah, I'm here.
So, like I said, sir, I'm brash, I'm to the point, be respectful,
Can you hear
and
me?
I will tell you, and I'll be honest, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. I got nothing to hide.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, he said. Okay, can you hear him, Josh?
I can hear him. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Well, I just said, well, in the messages that I asked that it was pertaining to Sebastian's school, right? Like you just said. And you said, no, other than him going missing, no CPS cases. I don't know. I can't hear. Maybe that.
He didn't say anything. Can you hear him, Chris? Can you hear
Hello?
him?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can now. I can now.
Okay.
Sorry.
So you didn't ask, you asked about active cases. That's what you asked about. And I answered your question.
You did. You answered my question.
Hello? Hello?
He said you answered his question. I can hear you. Can you hear him, Josh?
Okay. Yeah, I can't hear him.
Okay. Can y'all
So,
now? I think
so
he said
he's asked me, and I can't pull it up because if I pull it up, then we lose contact. But he asked me if there was active DCH, CPS, whatever you want to call it, case with Sebastian. And I said, yes, he's missing. I was told by the sheriff's department that they had to report it. So yes, there's an active case. Is there anything other than that? No, there's not an active case. So my statement that I told you is true.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I get it, the active investigation, but yeah, but you did really, maybe it's just because of text, but you did make it seem like there was no, like that this was the first time that they'd ever been involved at all.
No, I didn't insinuate. Now, understand something. Words on paper are simply words on paper. Whatever emotions you put behind them is directly proportionate to yourself, not me.
Oh, sir, I didn't put any emotion behind it. I'm just
Well,
saying.
but you're trying to insinuate on this show.
No.
Yes, you did, sir. Yes, because you just stated that you said that I made it sound like this. No, I didn't. I told you. I gave you a direct statement, gave you your answer, and that right there is exactly what I'm talking about. Then you called into the show and you said, "No, you're lying." No, I'm not lying. So call a spade, but make sure you're right. Now, to be honest with you, it has nothing to do with finding my son.
You don't think that you don't think? Okay, all right. Well, look, man.
How does CPS have to do with anything finding Sebastian? Because if you're insinuating something,
well, you said they opened up an investigation. You said they opened up an investigation. So you tell me what it has to do with him.
Because what did I tell you? That's what you're not listening. The sheriff's department told us that they are required to report it to DCS, CPS, whatever you want to call them. They are required to report it to them. Mm-hmm. That answer has yet to change. It hasn't changed any of the slightest.
And okay, so that's okay, I get it. So it's the only open investigation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, according to this newest and latest federal lawsuit by Seth Rogers to Sumner County, it outlines that Sumner County was part of the investigation into the basically gut punch of Sebastian by Chris Proudfoot. Their investigation also uncovered a neighbor that told the department that Chris Proudfoot hated Sebastian and wanted him dead. Those are some pretty significant allegations that came about before Sebastian ever disappeared from his home. Sebastian was scheduled to be removed from Chris and Katie's home prior to his disappearance by the Department of Children and Family Services. These are the allegations that are in the federal lawsuit Seth Rogers has against the Department of Children and Family Services, as well as the Sumner County Sheriff. They said that the sheriff failed their son's investigation, that there's no thorough investigation. And here is the caveat. Here is the biggest part of all of this, folks. They've never been able to corroborate Chris Proudfoot's alibi. They have never been able to corroborate Chris Proudfoot's alibi, according to this newest lawsuit. Now, these are just allegations. All the information in these lawsuits, just like my lawsuits, are allegations until the findings of the court. It has taken me I've been sitting on the sidelines for well over a year for my appeal, as well as my day in court to hold these SOBs accountable for what they did, the atrocities that they did to me, the sleepless nights I've had, the unconscionable things that have happened to me as a direct result of Chris and Katie's and Sumner County's poor judgment and violation of my rights, violation of Sebastian's rights. And never mind the fact that this same county is the one that arrested umpteen million people for DUIs while they were driving sober. And now this county has no money. This county doesn't know what to do, and all they are doing is sucking on the tit of the federal government. They're going after all this CSAM, which we're happy. You know, CSAM is a major problem in this country, and we need to go after the people that are creating this vacuum of this horrible content that has a lot of victims worldwide. So we definitely want to see the CSAM stopped, and we want to see the people arrested. But that's all they're focusing on right now, because the federal government is paying them to be focused on that. They're not focusing on Sebastian. They're not focusing on really other crime. I don't know how many missing children they have in their community, but the only one that we know of is Sebastian Rogers, and they never looked for him after the 8 days that they searched for him. This is the biggest crock of crap leadership I've ever heard and ever seen. And to think that the board of supervisors or county commissioners in this community are just fine with this leadership, it makes me sick. Everybody needs to be fired, in my opinion. Because what happened to Sebastian should have never happened to him. Everybody was involved in this case that should have been involved in this case for a positive outcome. Yet, once again, we have the Department of Children and Family Services in yet another case, but right before a child disappears, and then that child disappears, and they're scratching their head saying, oh, I wonder what happened here. I wonder what happened here. So everybody that is being sued should be sued. What they did to this case, what they did to this father, what they did to the people that were trying to help this father is disgusting. And I hope the people in Sumner County wake up and realize that they are being fooled with this leadership. This is a good old boys club. This is a good old boys club. Good old boys systems don't work. If they worked, we wouldn't have tried for the last 20 years to get them out of every single community around this country. And yet it lives free and well here in Sumner County. We've got to stop the good old boys system. These jobs should go to the people that are best suited for them, not the ones that the good old boys system thinks needs to be the next in line. Okay? And that's what happened here. Next in line. Next in line. This right here is an idiot. He's an idiot. He's a pretty boy that goes on a postcard. That's all he's good for. That's all he's good for. He's the party establishment out there in Sumner County, and we're tired of party establishments. So now it's time for change, even in Sumner County. So there is a lawsuit out there. There was a lot of allegations in that lawsuit citing some of the worst things you can imagine. There was two closed investigations that the Sumner County was a part of. They knew about these things when this child was reported missing, yet they failed to turn his house into a crime scene. They failed to secure his bedroom. They failed to do the proper investigation. This looks like, according to Seth Rogers' attorney, looks like a Barney Fife investigation. And I couldn't agree more, because I've been screaming that from the rooftops for over 2 years. These yahoos didn't know what they were doing. And instead of doing their freaking job better, they tried to arrest me and shut me up. Well, you know what? I'm still coming up. And I told you guys the only way you get things done in a world like this is being a boil on the ass of a politician. And let me ask you something. Eric Craddock, do you still feel me? I bet you do. I bet you do. This is why you don't put your hands on people unlawfully. This is exactly why. We took $200 million out of your county. We're suing the pants off you. You got 2 major lawsuits, and that's just from us. God knows who else needs to be on these lawsuits. Why? Because you corrupt. There should be a lot of people suing the pants off of Sumner County for all of their corrupt business. And you know what Sumner County needs to do? If you are a citizen there, your taxes are going to go through the roof with this type of leadership. And you know what? We're going to keep pushing it, because I want you guys to pay through the nose. If you guys are going to have this type of leadership that violates so many people's rights, and you're okay with that because it's not your rights being violated, then guess what we're going to do? We're going to make the whole blessed county feel the pain. So all of you are going to be on the hook for this bill. Or you guys can do another thing. Fire your leadership. and get real representation in Sumner County that's going to be fair for everyone, not just for the top tier. If we had a good working law enforcement body, Chris and Katie would be in prison right now, and you all know that. You all know that. But we don't. We have Sumner County. So we're going to continue to fight. I'm glad Seth did this. I'm glad he found a partner and an attorney that was going to help him fight for his son. I wish I could give that attorney a hug. I really do, because that attorney does not know how much he's truly helping this father. And pray for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Pray that he is still alive. Pray that he still will be able to come home to his father. Pray Katie Proudfoot didn't truly do the unthinkable. I think she's a murdering biatch. That's what I think. But there's still a piece in my heart that keeps rooting for Seth, that says, I hope I'm wrong and I hope you're right, man. I hope I'm wrong and I hope you're right. You know? And that right there, I live in Hendersonville. I've seen this on the news. Other than that, I have not heard anything local, because your local news sucks. Justo, you know that? Your local news sucks. I've been out there protesting. I was arrested, violated my civil rights, and those yahoos that you call news didn't even give a shit. Like, the news out there, the news is as corrupt as your politicians in Hendersonville. I wouldn't trust the only person I trust out there's like literally one person in the news that I trust, and she's probably the youngest journalist out there, and it's Caitlin Quisenberry with Channel 2. She is literally the only person I trust out there. She's sweet, she's kind, she always tries to look for the true facts, and she always tries to, within reason, within her, you know, because she's got to work, she still has a round table of corrupted media people she works under, so she gets in what she can get in. But the only person I trust out there in mainstream media is Caitlin Quisenberry. There is not one media personality out there that I trust. Actually, I've turned my back on many of them. And there's this little old lady that's from the newspaper out there. She's really kind. She's really sweet. She's been in the biz for a really long time. You could just tell it. You can just tell it. She's from the old school, and I love that. I love that school. I love that school. So, you know, the Beesh with Sass. It's nice to see you, love. I don't hear the cops talking about it. Of course not. Of course, the last time we were there, I was there for a week protesting. And Seth came out there one day, and he was holding a sign, and an officer came up and shot him a bird. You know what? It's things like that make me just want to snap just pop the head like a pimple. You know? Just pop the head like a pimple. But at the end of the day, you don't get to do that. And violence is the reason why we cover the majority of our cases that we have. So outside of hyperbole and the want of wanting to smack the crap out of somebody or snap them and shake them. I have a shirt that says, I think it's right here. Here is this shirt. Here's the shirt. I just forgot. Here's the shirt right here. There's the shirt. You can't read it. I'll read it to you. It says, stupid people are like glow sticks. I want to snap them, shake the shit out of them until the light comes on. That's how I feel like most days, okay? I'm sorry. That's how I feel most days, right? You know, it's one of those things you say, but you can't actually perform. It's against the law. But come on, you guys know, you got to treat stupid people like glow sticks. You want to snap them, shake the shit out of them until the light comes on. So that's how I feel like when I go out here to Sumner County. And even out here, it's like, you know, the media doesn't want to talk about it because they don't want to have to tell their audience that they failed them, that they lied to the residents out there, because they constantly lie. If you guys want true media and you guys want true journalism, it's not in mainstream media anymore. You want true journalism, you got to go to social media, because we're raw. You don't get any more freedom of the press than independent journalism on social media these days. Like, we would show you, if we could show you the DEAD BODY, we would. right? If we didn't get kicked off these platforms, because I mean, I'm sorry, I'm all about freedom of press, and I believe that we protect entirely too many people. I think if people saw the disgusting real life, I think people would be more vigilant. I think people would be more safe. I think crime would come down. But we try to, quiet those things. We don't want people knowing the real truth, because the real truth is too alarming. We believe that protecting people and not telling the people the reality of life will somehow give them a better life. I think it's lying to people. I think it's intentionally and willfully deceiving people, and I think it's counter to what freedom of press truly is. Freedom of press is just that, freedom of press. That means we don't censor things. We tell our audience the truth. We show them the facts. We don't hide them. We don't downplay them. We don't sugarcoat them. We don't walk on eggshells on social media. We give you the real deal. And that's what media should have been providing the world all of this time. And they haven't. They failed us. And I think that in that failure birthed something beautiful. I think in that failure, it birthed social media. We used to just come up here and dance and stuff like that. Yeah, you're right. I'm absolutely anti-fascist. Mimi? Well, I guess you're the only fascist here, because I don't try to prevent you from speaking, but you certainly try to prevent me from speaking, right? If I was out there, you'd be sitting there screaming at me, trying to silence my voice. That's a fascist. So, yeah, I one day you're going to have to wake up and realize that you're fighting anti-fash when you're the fash. So maybe you should fight yourself. Maybe that's why you're so anti, right? Maybe you hate yourself so much. I don't know. But you're damn right. And you know what? I got a special seat right at the front by dear President Donald J. Trump. Right? Some lonely girl out here in a group of great people, great patriots, gets an invite to the 250th event out there in D.C. and had a front row seat and a name badge that gave me that front row seat by the President of the United States of America. So you can call me a fascist all day long, but I work my ass off to the point where people see, right? You're never going to get ahead by being the same as everybody else. You get ahead by doing the things lazy people are unwilling to do. That's how you do it. That's the difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful person. You're an anti-fash Mimi, I guarantee you're unsuccessful. I guarantee it. You know why? Because you're a freaking fascist. I ate fascist for lunch. Have a great day. I'm still trying to swallow the ick. So anyways, guys, Sebastian Rogers deserves justice. He never even got a real legitimate investigation, because if he did, Katie and Christopher Proudfoot would be in jail, and we all know that. So why have they been able to sit outside of jail for 2 years when clearly you follow the facts? The facts only go one way, but somehow this law enforcement body is so ignorant to those facts. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're a fascist, quit putting anti-fascist on your name title, okay? Because when you think you have the authority to prevent me from talking,